And the pot calls the kettle black, calls the kettle burnt, calls her mad. Kettle reminds the pot that we both been burned on the same stove, that the parts of our bodies that are layered in soot were scorched by the same hands. Kettle tells pot that she still boils water, holds the hot breath of a white man's tongue, endures the slow simmer of a white woman's allyship, and still, we make something beautiful. Pot calls the kettle wicked, and kettle says no, but says she's so magical she burned the hand of the last man who tried to pour himself a piece of her. Says she's so black she is everything, so black she is the beginning. She is the first thing someone finds home in when they wake up in the morning. Says ain't that what it means to be black? To have the world go up in flames around you and still be sanctuary for someone, saving men who lost themselves the night before, saving men who curse our names but forget his mama is made of steel too. And now the pot has no words but calls the kettle bitter, but loves the glass pan, the fine china, loves all the exotic shit white men put behind glass casings, loves how fragile things not made of steel can be. But this isn't about the pot or the pan. This is about the kettle, the black woman, how she pours herself across the earth, but no one bats an eye when the water disappears. We give ourselves to men who never love us, but they say we are difficult, too hard to break. How we, the kettle, praise this pot, this man for all the water he holds. How we are the only ones who do not call him monster when the water boils over, because we know this heat, this white flame, hot enough to make any of us explode. We are the first ones to make noise when the world goes up in flames, but they say the earth was saved by the man who heard her scream. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says yes, but says you best remember you black too. The next time they bring a fire to your neck, they burn black bodies on the stake and the stove. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says bitch I might be, says nuck if you buck, then says wipe me down. Kettle says yes my nigga, I be black, I be mad, and I boiled the last man down to his bones when he tried to test me. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says hell yes, but don't say my name as if you ain't ever been burnt too.
All right. All right, welcome to the live tonight. Let me pause this for 1 minute. Okay, good. Welcome everybody. It's Christmas Eve, so I'm not gonna be on here for too long, but I will be on here. Cool. So as you can see, there's been a whole lot of talk going on around in Black YouTube and in YouTube in general, and a lot going on, I guess, with Fat Joe. So here's my take on it. Why are you guys getting so bent over shape over what he said? I mean, there's worse things going on. I mean, don't get me wrong, he sounds like an idiot. Let's get that out of the way. But people say stupid things every day. So the first thing is, why did he get under mostly men's skin? Because he didn't give a fuck when he was dissing women, just like somebody else we know. Yep. Anyway, we're gonna get to him. Don't worry, we're gonna get to him. But just for a warm up, let's break this down. Here we go.
Following all of the Jay-Z accusations,
Jay-Z's situations, and it's funny because some people still like think that he's innocent and shit. Which, I mean, you're innocent before proven guilty. That, technically is in the mix. But to think that he's not possible of doing what he did, what he's being accused of, that's about as unreal as saying that, oh yeah, he's definitely guilty. It's to me, it's like 50-50. Here we go.
and people looking into his association with people like P. Diddy. A lot of fans have been looking into what other celebrities have been saying about Jay-Z over the years and seeing if any of it correlates with the recent lawsuit. And there have definitely been some strange happenings from Jay-Z over the past few decades. So today we're going to be looking into every celebrity who tried to warn us about Jay-Z, starting off with Dame Dash. Real quick.
Okay, Dame Dash, here we go.
I do want to clarify, everything in this video is like speculation from the fans, since after the recent lawsuit everyone's been looking at him a little bit differently. Really what we're going to be looking at is things other celebs have said about Jay-Z that seem a little suspicious after what's been coming out. However, if you want the actual
thing is this, my thought on this is basically, if it came out of the blue, like he had been a stellar, citizen and everything like that, and there wasn't these rumblings ever since Aaliyah or Foxy Brown, then I could say, something, maybe I'll lean his way until I get more intel, right? But this has been around for 30 years. Jackie Gaines in the house. Jackie, it's good seeing you. Here we go.
Facts of the lawsuit, Jay-Z's extortion claims, and everything along those lines. I made a whole video on that the other day, so feel free to check it out.
That's pretty bad. If there's any way to prove that you're guilty, is to, what is the word? Harass other victims or witnesses. I've seen this happen on YouTube as well. Got tape on it too. Yes, if you harass or threaten people and threaten them that you will do something to them regardless what it is, without probable cause, you can be prosecuted for that. And that's what going on right here with Jay-Z.
That out. On top of that, some new news came out where the alleged victim said she made some mistakes in recollections of that night, but also claims that she still stands on her major accusations. NBC said that they found some inconsistencies in her allegations, which I will link to down below. I mean, she even said that
there were inconsistencies. I think they rushed her case. In my opinion, they rushed her case. Probably she was one of 1,000. They just said, well, let's put this in the mix for now. They rushed it and it was kind of sloppy. Does it mean he's innocent of it? No. Does it mean he's guilty? No. Here we go.
That her dad didn't remember this happening, even though he was the one who supposedly picked her up afterwards. And then Jay-Z said in response to this, today's investigative report...
We're talking 30 years, so that's the problem is nobody's going to really remember anything. T-Mama in the house. It's good seeing you, T-Mama.
Proves that this attorney, Busby, filed a false complaint against me in the pursuit of money and fame. This incident didn't happen, and yet he filed it.
This is the thing. It seemed like Sean Carter would be in the driving seat if this is a case, and it kind of looks that way. But then he screwed up when he started harassing witnesses, like Diddy did. That's where he started looking real guilty to me, is when his actions, portray a different outcome that he could have gotten if he just let it go. But he knows he's got more things. He knows he's got, what's the word? More skeletons in the closet.
In court and double down in the press. True justice is coming. We fight from victory, not for victory. This was over before it began. This 1-800 lawyer doesn't realize it yet, but soon. So I just wanted to include this new information because I feel like it's kind of weird and a little bit unfair that everyone talked about all the allegations when it came out, but I haven't seen anyone talking about this. Regardless, just wanted to inform you all on that, and let's continue with the video. Dame Dash was once a close friend of Jay-Z who has been saying for a very long time that he doesn't think Jay is that great of a person for a variety of reasons. The main one being Jay-Z's cutthroat business practices. When Jay was on the come up, him, Dame, and Kareem Burke created Rockefeller Records back in '94, and Dame was acting as Jay-Z's manager / business partner. Rockefeller started going crazy with Jay-Z's albums doing big numbers, his Hard Knock Life tour grossing $18 million, and them eventually signing artists like Beanie Sigel, Cameron, and of course Kanye West. But there were some issues going on behind the scenes. Rockefeller was under a label called Def Jam, and they renewed their contract with Def Jam in 2004 for $20 million. Jay, Dame, and Kareem were all planning to sell their shares of the company, and they did for millions of dollars. Then, Jay told Dame to meet him in a restaurant, and according to XXL, Jay had been appointed as Def Jam's president and CEO. The remaining 50% stake in Rockefeller had been sold to Def Jam, and Dame viewed Jay's move as the ultimate betrayal. Basically, Jay-Z took over Rockefeller by becoming the CEO of Def Jam without Dame's knowledge. Dame said in regards to the incident, "Go ahead and take the money and the job, but don't take Rockefeller with you." Dame also said that Jay said it was just business. According to Dame, "We were always supposed to be about more than business, Jay especially. I did everything I possibly could so that he didn't have to raise his voice. He just had to whisper something in my ear and I'd take care of it. The people I fought with to make money for him, Larry Cohen and Kevin Liles, he's made friends with. He hangs with Puff now. It's like if your brother leaves you." Clearly, Dame understandably felt very betrayed by this business move, and he lost millions of dollars because of it. Jay-Z
And a mom in the house.
also had his legendary beef with Nas back in the early 2000s around this time, and before this even happened, Nas called out Jay-Z's character saying something similar by saying, "What's sad is I love you because you're my brother. You traded your soul for riches." And Dame Dash seems to
That
share
he
this
did. That we all know he did. Here we go.
sentiment. But this isn't the only time that Jay-Z has been accused of some really shady business moves. In the last few years, Tory Lanez was sentenced to 10 years in prison for his very high-profile case where he allegedly shot Megan Thee Stallion. But recently he's come out...
It's not allegedly anymore since they convicted him of it. So it's not allegedly anymore.
Filing an ethics complaint against his former lawyer Sean Hawley, suggesting that she wasn't actually going to bat for him. And this is because she supposedly had ties to Jay-Z's Roc Nation. Roc Nation is another one of Jay-Z's many companies, and to this day it's still owned by him, which is interesting when you hear what Tory Lanez is alleging Roc Nation did. Before all of this went down, Megan Thee Stallion signed to Jay-Z's Roc Nation. Tory Lanez was saying that his lawyer Sean Hawley was connected to Roc Nation. Part of this is because she loosely inspired the show Reasonable Doubt, and she was also a producer on the show. Reasonable Doubt is also the name of Jay-Z's first album. In the series, it featured the remix of Megan Thee Stallion's song Savage, which features Beyonce, who obviously is Jay-Z's wife. So Tory was basically trying to say that his lawyer's connections to the show, Meg, Beyonce, and possibly even Jay-Z and Roc Nation were impacting his case. According to Vibe, the Toronto Star also believes Hawley was acting under Roc Nation's orders when it was suggested that he accept a plea deal, which he declined. Hawley also stepped away from Tory's defense 5 days before he was found guilty. In response to Tory's claims, she said, "Mr. Peterson," which is Tory's real last name, "brought these meritless claims to the state bar over a year ago, and they were summarily rejected and the matter was promptly closed. His actions to publicize this failed effort are likely tied to the appeal of his criminal conviction, for which I wish him well. I have never had business ties to Roc Nation, and Roc Nation has nothing to do with the television show Reasonable Doubt, which I co-produce." Basically, Tory had this whole conspiracy theory that Jay-Z's Roc Nation, since they were partnered with Megan, was trying to get her out of this situation, and then that's where the lawyer comes in, and I guess she screwed him over. In response to this, according to Vibe, a reputable source told them nobody on Jay-Z's team or Roc Nation had anything to do with this Reasonable Doubt show. I don't know if they're conflating the fact that Jay has an album called Reasonable Doubt, and maybe that's the connection they're drawing, but nobody had anything to do with that show the lawyer was a part of, even if they did.
Pause it right there. So basically, let's get to the good stuff. Because this is just about business. I don't want to know about that shit. I know he's
Both Diddy
I know he's
and
shady. I know that.
R. Kelly were friends with Jay,
No,
and it's
rich people in the music industry, most more shady. So yeah.
possible Jay knew of some of the
Oh my
stuff.
God! There we go. There we go. Birds of a feather flock together. Birds of a feather. You know something? This is going to be really a controversial statement, but what good is it if you're FBA if you're not a benefit to your community, or at least neutral where you're not damaging people? I mean, I heard this FBA talk all day, every day for a while, which I haven't heard for a long time. And I'm like, what good is it if you're a monster? Look at all these FBA monsters. I mean, these guys are literally the name of hip hop. And at the very least, domestic violence. At the very least. Isn't it the point of a role model to be a role model? Like to show you what to do correctly? I mean, that's where it's supposed to be at, right? I'm sorry, but if a person is from a foreign country but is an amazing person with a good heart, I would take them over an FBA monster any day of the week. I'm not saying FBA, everybody in FBA are monsters, but what I'm saying is that when it comes right down to it, your value is in who you are and how you behave, not whether you're labeled here or not. I mean, I can see the argument being made because it's really almost the last vestige of ownership we have is being, FBA. But don't ask me to join in with that derogatory shit jumping all over the manosphere mostly. I'm just not down with that. I think you're hiding behind the label just to be mean to people. We should have simply have laughed off Fat Joe, and that would have been a much stronger message than putting up all these videos whining about it. We all know he's wrong. I mean, if you're outside and a street vagrant says that, you piss on your shoes or you shit in your pants or something like that, do you even respond? No, you keep walking. It's like, oh, he's down bad. He's down bad. Now, don't get me wrong. Fat Joe has a lot more money than I do. But as far as his success compared to others in his, what do you want to call it, genre or circle, all I remember is, look back or lean back. Shoot, that was right in the middle of my DJ career. He released that. The middle. Which, again, it questions his leap to act like he was part of the history of hip hop. Because nobody knew about Fat Joe at least until the 90s. Or at least that's when he might have been on the streets or something like that, whatever. At least, Lean Back was like at least in the 90s, early 2Ks maybe. Yeah, he had to hand it to him. That was fire, though. That was fire. Humpty Dumpty. So, I'll talk about him some more, but basically that's the thing. It's like it's like FBA men and manosphere men are avoiding the primary issue, which is the destruction, or you want to call it the oppression, whatever makes you feel good, of the community. Joe has nothing to do with that. Nothing. There's nothing he's doing that is oppressing anybody. On the other hand, there are a lot of FBA men that need to up their game that are causing havoc in our community. Not just FBA men, but y'all in the mix just as much as everybody else at the very least, because we're here. So there's more of us. And it's funny because I was on this live stream, and I won't call it ignorant, but the amount of defense they had against the proposition that the hip hop culture, which has been covered in violence and misogyny, had nothing to do with the community. As in, if you would, and here's the breakdown. You ask somebody this: do you feel music can change or make a person feel a certain way? Yes, it can. But more than likely, it's not like they would change you into being a monster. I think they just bring the monster out in people. If the content and the artist are convincing in the delivery of their talent. See, other races of people, they look at hip hop differently than we do. It's entertainment to them. It's not a culture to them. They know about the hip hop culture, and you get some outliers that'll, mix in with the culture, like Joe's trying to do, or whatever he's trying to do, right? But at the bottom line, it's our culture. I want you to ask yourself and be honest with yourself. When it comes to FBA children, and your life depended on it, do you believe they would want to be a doctor or a rapper? And then ask yourself this: of those, and I should say male FBA, because we know the women, they're down for education. But let's go back to the men again, because I've seen you guys diss education. So then you have to ask yourself, what would you rather do? Join something like a gang? I'm not saying you're in a gang, but I'm saying something like that. Or go to college. I'm being very, very positive, and I would say that's at best 50-50. See, y'all weren't thinking about that. Y'all weren't thinking about that at all. You were just trying to be right. And right or wrong, the argument you were having wasn't helping anybody. Because at the end of the day, it's up to the FBA, if you're going to say that, to fix the community. I myself, it's like this: whoever's good, I'm cool with. I don't care where they're from. I don't care where they're from. Did I mention I don't care where they're from? As long as they treat people good, with respect, to me, they are higher value than a FBA Diddy who's been a monster for 30 years. Sorry, that's just the way it is. I mean, Martin Luther King said it. It's by the character, right? So where's this at? It sounds like to me there's a lot of men out there using FBA as a pass, as some sort of, oh yeah, I'm FBA, so I'm top tier. How about them FBAs in prison? Are they top tier too? Not the ones that because I know the next speech is, oh no, he shouldn't have gone there because he was innocent, blah, 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 blah. He only hit her 12 times. I'm talking about the ones that are obviously guilty. The ones that you so hard You don't want to be, you still don't want to be around him. And a mom in the house. Let me keep it going. I know I'm boring everybody, but that's too bad. I got to get this out. So, by the way, it looks like Jay-Z's being sued by another accuser. This time it's a man. It sounds a lot. There goes the pattern. There goes the pattern, y'all. There goes the pattern. Let's go over that situation where he's accusing people.
It sure started to feel like Jay-Z and his lawyers thought they had this case in the bag.
He did. He did. This one, this particular one.
Busby is now fighting back, defending his Jane Doe, and things just got way messier. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and this case is only getting wilder. Tony Busby has fired back at Jay-Z and reiterated that the rapper will do anything to intimidate and harass him, including what he's alleging paying people to file frivolous lawsuits is what he's alleging that Jay-Z and his team
I know
doing.
some about that. I know some about that. Ooh. Let me tell you. Man, oh man. And I got the tapes. Anyway, let's get back to Jay-Z. I'm just feeling good.
Just a big charge. Look, I was starting to doubt and get worried about Tony Busby, not just because I don't know what's really happening, not because I defend Jay-Z or think he's fully perfect, but this interview with this accuser.
Yeah, it was trash. It was, I mean, the interview was fine, but she looked like trash. I mean, not her responses made her look bad.
Didn't sit well with me. I got to be honest. And some of these inconsistencies started to really mess with me.
Let me make it clear. Inconsistencies piques a judge's ears more than anything. If you tell them something and it's not true, they get mad. They may or may not show it, but they hate being lied to. And dudes do it anyway. That's the funny thing.
But now Tony Busby has responded. I want to go through his response. I want to go through the inconsistencies again, and I want to go through how Jay-Z has responded. I think it's all very important. But here is the latest, filed today from the Busby Law Firm. This is Tony responding about this immediate requirement to get sanctions and throw out the case, which I've asked our attorney advisor, John Witherspoon, who he just thinks that's ridiculous. It's not going to happen. It's not going to.
No, even as poorly written as it was, they're probably going to give him a couple more shots at the apple.
Idea that the 21-day period should be reduced to 1 is ridiculous. Grasping at straws was his words, and again reeks of a little bit of a desperation move.
Yes, exactly. Desperation is when you try to rush somebody. That shows that you're worried. Otherwise, what do you care? Desperation. That's why Jay-Z is starting to look more and more guilty. He is looking more and more guilty. Not because of the woman who accused him, but his peripheral actions, behavior, pattern.
On Jay-Z's team to try to just Jedi mind trick this thing to go away, which it's not. So Busby's filing back. He says this is ridiculous, basically. This intent to file a motion to strike for sanctions immediately is just groundless. Defendant Carter threatens plaintiff with a Rule 11 motion based on questions raised by one single television interview concerning events occurring 24 years ago when plaintiff was 13 years old. Defendant Carter also asked this court to alter the federal rules of civil procedure in his favor by abrogating the mandatory 21-day Rule 11 safe harbor period without any legal support or factual justification whatsoever. The former is frivolous and the latter is impermissible. Just to reiterate, Jay-Z's team is out there saying, oh, well, this interview proves everything. It's all false, so we should just throw it away. All rights go away. It's over, Judge. Everybody, it's just nothing. It's nothing. This didn't happen. To quote him directly, I think I have the soundbite here.
That's because this never happened.
He's trying to reiterate and just ground it in everybody's head, but the reality is that's not how these cases work. And
no, it's not. And the issue that he's trying to rush it, I guess maybe it's a personality thing, because when I know I'm right, I don't care. So when you want to, oh, yeah, whatever, anytime. What's good for you guys? It's like, you know, you know. And this is a problem. I guarantee you his lawyers weren't the ones who made this idea. This is too desperate. And they know that convincing the judge they're in control is important. And being desperate doesn't do that.
Busby's right. You don't get to just throw this away right now. No, and it's good to see Tony stepping up, lawyering well, and fighting back. This is pretty frivolous and deflectory and distracting of Jay-Z's team to try to get the media to just assume, no, it's all nonsense. Defendant Carter's threat of Rule 11 motion is frivolous because it characterizes run-off-the-mill disputes of fact as proof. That plaintiff's complaint is baseless. None of the factual issues Carter identifies are sufficient even to grant summary judgment in Carter's favor, much less support Rule 11 sanctions. The fact the defendant or potential witness does not agree with or recollect the facts alleged in the complaint does not and cannot give rise to a motion for sanctions for filing a baseless complaint. Defendant Carter's threat of an immediate sanctions motion on the first whisper of factual uncertainty is just one more instance of bullying intended to have a chilling effect on plaintiffs' counsels, and any potential plaintiffs watching these proceedings.
Right. See, people think you can bully witnesses, and that can be anybody. It can be anybody online that has valuable facts and evidence, or it can be the victim themselves.
Factual. Not only is Jay-Z trying to shut this all down for himself, but it does look like he's trying to actually help Diddy as well. While they're trying to say, oh, they're not friends, this is only going to help all the other countless accusations and lawsuits that are pending against Diddy from Busby. Because you and I have sort of said, look, Busby's credibility looks shot now, the fact that he didn't vet this person and his witness. But we'll come back to that. Rule 11 motion is frivolous on the additional ground that expressing a victim
I don't know
of SA...
about you, but maybe she's bait. Maybe she's bait. I mean, don't get me wrong, she probably has a case, but maybe she's bait, because this was poorly written. That somebody at his firm should have caught this.
Over 2 decades, when that victim was 13, and as her interview revealed, also autistic, to have perfect recall.
Oh, shoot. And she's autistic too? Oh, man. Oh, they're going to give her a lot of chances. Because autistic people, some can be completely pure memory geniuses, but then some might have their memory impaired, and they might need to really sit down for a while, for weeks, maybe months, and really sit down to remember everything. Shake a love in the house. And so, yeah, they're going to give, if she's autistic too, oh my God. And I hope it's not. For the reputation of Black men in the United States of America, I hope this is wrong. I really do. This would be very bad. This would be a bad image.
Of all facts is outrageous. Defendant Carter twists plaintiff's words when he accuses her, for instance, of guessing at the timing of events alleged in the complaint, such as the length of car rides. But New York courts have expressly acknowledged that plaintiffs in this type of case cannot be expected to have exacting recall and command of all relevant facts. And then he
Bars.
He lists Peninsula versus Roman Catholic Archdiocese. We recognize that in matters of SA involving that age, recounted by survivors years after, the facts, dates, and times are sometimes approximate and incapable of calendrical exactitude, not exact days and moments, and approving allegations spanning a 4-year window of time in which it could have occurred. So again, as long as it happened within that a 4-year period of when she said, well, then it's still relevant. It can still hold up, which is really good to hear. And again,
this is the weird thing. Some people will remember things in reverse. So that's just something to put in there. I'm going to go on to the next one. Now here's something that flew under the radar. It flew under the FBA radar too. No, in fact, he brought this man up. The FB, that's what I'm going to call that channel, the FBA channel. But anyway, yeah, Angela Reddick in the house. Yeah, check this out.
And as messy as Drake is right now, I can almost bet that there's somebody that wants to turn his faucet off. Because if y'all think Diddy is a mess, Drake, he was being groomed to be next in line, see? What happens when
Birds of a feather teach together.
details of what happened to Triple X?
XXXTentacion's case is getting old, but it's still far from over, and the drama just keeps coming. So you know how we all thought justice was served when X's killers got life in prison? Well, hold up, there's more to the story, and it's messier than ever. Remember those whispers about Drake being involved? Sis, they're not going away, and now we've got some wild claims and potential receipts to unpack. Okay, so let's talk about Dedrick Devin Williams first. If that name sounds familiar, it's because he's one of the dudes who got convicted for X's murder back in 2018.
Mr. Williams, you are the perfect example of why we have a law of principles in this state. When you engage in criminal acts with others, you bear the responsibility for your collective actions. It was you who picked the target in this case. You went inside Riva Motorsports to confirm the identification and what was there, and then you went back out.
He looks FBA to me. Is he top tier? Is he high value? The best way to bring value to the FBA name is by expressing a character of positive energy. He apparently didn't do that.
That in the vehicle. Now, while you may not have left the vehicle and you may not have brandished a firearm or fired the fatal shots, you are as guilty as they are, because you are an essential part of that crime. Without your actions, it would not have happened.
But
Ooh, they
get
got him
this,
good.
he's trying to appeal his case, and the gag is his legal team is throwing Drake into the mix. They're claiming Dedrick didn't get a fair trial because certain evidence pointing at other suspects,
Oh, let me pause this right here. I think I played this before, but this is very important for my build-up.
like the boy didn't even make it into the courtroom. But before we dive deeper, let's rewind a bit. So last year, Dedrick and his two accomplices, Michael Boatwright and Trayvon Newsom, were sentenced to life for their roles in X's murder. And the details? Straight out of a crime thriller. It all went down on June 18th, 2018, outside Riva Motorsports in Deerfield Beach, Florida. This wasn't just any robbery, it was a straight-up ambush with layers of drama. Picture this, it's a regular sunny day in Florida, and X had plans like anyone else. First stop, Bank of America, where he withdrew a fat stack of cash, $50,000 to be exact. The plan? Probably to treat himself because life was looking up for him at the time. From there, X drove his sleek black BMW i8 to Riva Motorsports in Deerfield Beach, Florida.
Clean.
It's a spot known for motorcycles and watercraft, and he was with his uncle just checking out the goods. Totally chill vibes, right? But lurking in the shadows was a black SUV carrying four guys: Dedrick Williams, Robert Allen, Michael Boatwright, and...
This is our problem. Y'all are worried about, and he is news. But you're worried about Joe. But is Joe doing this? Isn't this? Shouldn't we give this more attention than Joe right now? We should have laughed off Joe and then put a plan together to resolve these kind of problems that you're looking at on the screen.
Trayvon Newsome. Here's where it starts to get sketchy. These dudes tailed X and rolled up to the same dealership. Dedrick and Robert even had the audacity to walk into RIVA Motorsports like they weren't planning something. Surveillance cameras caught them casually strolling through the store, even passing X while he looked at bikes. And to top it off, they bought black masks while inside. Now, fast forward about 30 minutes later. X and his uncle leave the dealership, and as he gets into his car, boom, the black SUV blocks him in. Things escalated fast. Two guys, later identified as Boatwright and Newsome, jump out of the SUV. They're not here for small talk. They demand X's valuables. It's chaotic. There's yelling, a struggle, and they're trying to snatch his chain. But X wasn't about to go down without a fight. And then the unthinkable happened. Boatwright, who was clearly the aggressor in this twisted scene, pulled out a gun and shot X multiple times in the neck. Let's pause for a second here. They already had what they wanted, a Louis Vuitton bag stuffed with $50,000, but Boatwright still went back, looked X in the eyes.
That's our problem. Until we resolve this problem, I'm just simply going to ignore Fat Joe. This is the problem here. FBA, and I don't know if the other guy's FBA, but he's not representing FBA the way we would want him to. I think we can all agree with that.
And pulled the trigger again. It was ruthless. After the attack, the four suspects sped off in their SUV, leaving chaos behind. People rushed to help, and the Broward County Fire Department got X to the hospital.
Why does that dudes never think they're gonna get caught? I don't get it.
ASAP. There was a flicker of hope when paramedics briefly revived a pulse, but it wasn't enough. At 4:51 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, XXX Tentacion was pronounced dead.
Deerfield Beach. The rapper XXX Tentacion has been shot, apparently targeted while shopping for a motorcycle. Chopper 4 was over the scene on North Dixie Highway near Sample Road. The Broward Sheriff's Office says they got a call about the shooting at around 4 p.m. They say the rapper was transported to an area hospital where the Sheriff's Office says he died. We are continuing to work this story, and we'll have more on the CBSMiami.com website and on CBS 4 News at 7 and 11.
The autopsy later revealed that he bled out from a gunshot wound to the aorta, and he had been hit 3 times in the neck, with each shot dangerously close. The medical examiner, Lori Boyko, testified that the injuries were devastating. Here's where the story takes a turn. The suspects were eventually rounded up and hit with serious charges, including first-degree murder and armed robbery. The trial.
I'm going to ask, why do you guys do this? What makes you do this? Even in little things, it's like, you know you're going to be punished, but you still do dumb shit. Especially okay, they did in broad daylight, but I've seen instances, on different, on social media where people do dumb shit and they expect, oh, nothing's going to happen to me, nothing's going to happen to me. I don't get it. I mean, it's like you have to ask them, why didn't you just stop? Or why didn't you just not do it at all? I mean, what's in your brain making you tick like this? Because it's not normal. It's not normal behavior. And I guarantee you, they're going to be putting up more cameras and more surveillance, and online, they're going to get tighter and cleaner. They're going to have that AI. Oh shit. AI even for the little guy. They already have AI for the big people, with 1 million subscribers. They're going to get so good with AI, it's going to be for the little guy too. Little guy won't have to do anything. Oh, well.
The trial was intense, with evidence stacking up against them. On March 20th, 2023, after 8 days of testimony, the jury found Michael Boatwright, Trayvon Newsome, and Dedrick Williams guilty on all counts. The sentences were harsh but deserved. Boatwright got 2 consecutive life sentences plus an extra 30 years. Newsome and Williams were also handed life without parole.
More than a week of deliberations in the murder of South Florida rapper XXX Tentacion.
The verdict is about to be read in a Fort Lauderdale courtroom. Let's listen in live now.
transcripts appear to be in proper form, I will publish. In the Circuit Court of the 17th Judicial Circuit in and for Broward County, Florida, the state of Florida versus Dedrick Williams, verdict count 1. We, the jury, find as follows: as to the defendant Dedrick Williams in this case, the defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree as charged in the indictment. Count 2. We, the jury, find as follows: as to the defendant Dedrick Williams in this case, the defendant is guilty of armed robbery as charged in the indictment. Count 1. We, the jury, find as follows: as to the defendant Michael Boatwright in this case, the defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree as charged in the indictment. During the course of the crime committed, did the defendant Michael Boatwright actually possess a firearm? Yes. During the course of the crime committed, did the defendant Michael Boatwright actually discharge a firearm? Yes. During the course of the crime committed, did the defendant Michael Boatwright actually inflict death to Jase Onfroy as a result of discharging a firearm in his possession? Yes. Count 2. We, the jury, find as follows: as to the defendant Michael Boatwright in this case, the defendant is guilty of armed robbery as charged in the indictment. During the course of the crime committed, did the defendant Michael Boatwright actually possess a firearm? Yes. During the course of the crime committed, did the defendant Michael Boatwright actually discharge a firearm? Yes. During the course of the crime committed, did the defendant Michael Boatwright actually inflict death to Jase Onfroy as a first degree as charged? Count 2.
Okay.
Some might call him the snitch, but his testimony helped lock in those convictions.
Who made a comment to you?
Let me move forward.
Followed, justice was served, and the people responsible will spend the rest of their lives behind bars. Now, Dedrick's lawyers are claiming there's way more to this story.
Here we go. This is the stuff about Drake. And Deontay says Drake wouldn't risk his freedom over, deleting someone outside of self-defense. And I hope you're, believe it or not, Deontay, I hope you're right. But, man, sometimes, look at Diddy. He had everything going for himself. I think they literally flourish on getting away with shit.
Basically saying the investigation brushed past certain leads, like, oh, I don't know, Drake, and that Dedrick ended up being the scapegoat. Let's not forget that there were rumors swirling about some tension between X and Drake before X's death. And now, Dedrick's team is determined to make sure that gets more attention. Honestly, it's giving a feeling like there's a plot twist that we didn't see coming, but is there any truth to it? So here's the scoop. One of the big sticking points
the weird thing is this is, who's gonna say, Drake is literally like, he's not even in that competitive genre. So why would they use his name? They know that, they must know that, okay, he's going to have the best lawyers, he's going to have, and if he didn't do it, he's going to have an alibi. So in a reverse feel, it's like, if they really think Drake was in the mix and they're stating it, let's see what happens.
Tied to Drake. The lawyer is focusing on how defense witnesses were handled, and let's just say the prosecution wasn't playing fair. Back in 2020, Dedrick's lawyer submitted a list of witnesses he wanted to call, but the prosecution tried to block all of them. The judge didn't allow that, but told Dedrick's lawyer he needed to explain how each witness supported his defense. The lawyer said this was shady because it forced him to show his strategy to the other side. Messy, right? Here's where it gets juicy. The defense is pointing to an old social media post from X himself, where he said, "If I get killed, it's champagne poppy." In case y'all didn't know, that's Drake's Instagram handle. Not only that,
doesn't help Drake because, again, people beef every day. People beef every day, so it's not like, oh my God, Drake said hello, fool, and then all of a sudden he said that something went on.
But X also had beef with other rappers connected to Drake, like 600 Breezy and Toronto rapper Top 5. And let's not forget DJ Academics, one of X's close friends, who spilled all
He's
kinds
also
of
accused of SA.
tea on this drama. Academics even claimed X talked about his issues with Drake
He's
and
also
made
accused of SA.
some spicy comments about Drake's mom.
Well, I think it was like the street element. Yeah, exactly. But the street element only goes so far. You know what I'm saying? And I say that respectfully, because I don't want brother to feel like, you feel me, like I'm stepping on his toes. You feel me? But regardless of anything, there was origin behind what I was doing.
I feel like you guys both like.
Speaking of Academics, X once sent him a pic of a Drake lookalike with some shady
And that's
captions.
funny because a lot of FBA dudes follow Academics, but he's not FBA. And he's definitely not a positive influence in our community. So you guys work that one out. Yeah, I'm just going to play that. I'm going to keep
And
that.
told him to post it. But Academics was urging him not to play with Drake like that. After the warning came through to X, the post came down, and X claimed his account got hacked. Dedrick's lawyer wanted Academics' testimony locked in because he doesn't live in the U.S. and might not show up in person. But the court only allowed a basic deposition. Imagine missing all the drama he could have spilled in court. X's mom, Cleopatra Bernard, also had something to say. She testified that X and Drake had real beef, like legit tension. She even claimed Drake threw subliminal shots at X in his lyrics. Plus, she talked about X's run-ins with the Migos, including a violent clash, and how 600 Breezy showed up in Florida, posting online about being strapped. She was so worried she talked to X about hiring extra security the day he was killed. But it gets even messier. After being
AKA who? AKA fool.
subpoenaed, Drake brought in a heavy hitter lawyer, Brad Cohen, to block the deposition. Brad wasn't playing. He filed motions to keep Drake out of it, and after a lot of back and forth, the judge completely flipped. Dedrick's lawyer wanted to show video evidence of Drake's staff rejecting the subpoena. Like, they literally kicked it down the road near Drake's house. But nope, the judge sided with Drake's team, blocked the deposition, and tossed the subpoena. Talk about star power working in your favor. Dedrick's lawyer was heated. He argued that
y'all are into that star power stuff. It's a disappointment too. I mean, you're letting star power, whether it just be in the community or nationally or globally, blind you to the actions that these people are in. And it's terrible. It's terrible. You guys are letting him get it. Look at it. Check this one out. Check this one out right here. I remember a very, very cool host of mine once said to me, "You can't save everybody. Not everybody's going to be able to make the trip." This right here, I'm going to tell you, is a perfect example.
I mean, you said there's two things. What is it?
I don't know. I just had I don't know.
Tell me. Don't do that. Tell me.
Drake is saying, Deontay is saying, Drake too soft to have someone, deleted. He's suing over a lost rap beef. How soft is that? Bars. Now, we have a beautiful young lady here to the left, and then this is Young Thug, who's right at the moment in jail or prison. She has her whole life ahead of her. He's in deep trouble. There is no reason for her to be in the same room. Not because of the way she looks or anything like that. It's like he got there somehow. And even if they don't charge him with some of the things that he clearly did, he did enough that they put orange on him, and then more than likely, you could say, okay, this is not a good guy. This is more about her, not him.
Please.
I thought we were just aligned. I thought we were the same. I just can't believe what you. I don't know.
We are aligned. We are. I said it came out wrong. I'm sorry. I worded it the wrong way, and I did not mean it that way.
Wow. She is really begging. I mean, she is literally begging for somebody who might be in prison for the rest of his life if he messes up. I think he got out, but his probation is ridiculous. He literally has to change himself to be able to live up to the probation. That's why they gave it to him. It's like 12 years, and a long list of stipulations. Anyway, Tam's in the house. Tam says, too many rappers tell on themselves in Vlad interviews. Exactly. Jail phone calls and their lyrics. Then it's everyone else's fault when their mouth gets them into trouble. Greetings from Mexico. Tam is in Mexico having a ball New Year's Eve. Everybody, make sure you say hi to Tam, either in the live stream or in the chat, along with Angela, Deontay, Jackie, Sugar Love, and who else is up on here? Oh, and T Mama. Let's keep this going. Here we go. Oh, Angela says, Thug changed his plea and is now on a 10-year probation with community service. His associates are still on trial. Bars. Tam says, jail phone calls are public. Stop running your mouth in jail phone calls. You literally have a Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate yourself. In other words, you have the right to S the F up. But Tam, we know they just can't help it. They just can't help it. They can't help it. You know? It's just something, they just can't help it.
I really, you have to believe me. Like, you're like laughing. It's not funny. It's not funny. I would never say that. Like, I would never say that. Like, that's not the person I am. I would never. Why are you looking at me like that? Stop. You don't even believe me. It's like you don't believe me. You're raising your eyebrow. You're like,
It's not that I don't believe you. It's just I can't believe you. I can't believe what you.
okay, well, it came out wrong. I'm telling you, it came out wrong, and I did not mean it that way.
Oh.
I meant to say, like, I want you to, like, obviously, I want you to be out here with me, like. Do you get it? Do you get what I mean?
Or maybe she's trying to get married, so, you know?
Yeah.
I think this is what I think people would call investing, where you think somebody who's down, you catch them on their down, on their downswing, and then when they make it big, that you're going to reap the benefits. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen much.
Yeah, I get it.
You think if I really felt like that, I would be here?
I think you felt like
it's
that.
Hard
I think
for
you just feel bad. So
what?
that's why you came. I think you felt like that, but I just think you felt bad by saying it. So that's why you.
No, I don't feel like that.
You do.
No, I don't. This is something that someone else told me, and I feel like I should have never said that to you. I should have never repeated it. I should have never said that.
You could have repeated it. It don't matter. Cause I looked at that person. I love that person.
Why the fuck would she say that to me? Huh?
We pause this for a minute. And this is I believe in unity. So whether that means unity of FBA people or unity of people from different countries or unity of, you know, ideas, that's what I'm about. I want to show you an example. Did you know that one of, I'm sure you know, remember Biggie, right? One of his slamming hits of all time was Hypnotized. It's definitely out of all of his tracks. Darnell, thank you, Darnell. And thanks again for the super chat the other day. Darnell, it's good to see you. In fact, maybe I'll drop the link here because I do want to get some more reactions if somebody wants to come up. Let me drop that link. Okay. So there is an argument. I'm going back to Fat Joe. Fat Joe versus Biggie, you can almost say. Okay, so no, Fat Joe is incorrect. He's incorrect. There's no way it's 50-50. It's something though, but it's not 50-50. And this, however, in the middle of the beginning, we have this. Where is it? Okay. Okay, so you heard that, right? Sounds familiar, doesn't it? I mean, in today's sonic high dB world, it almost sounds like a bad mixed version of Hypnotized, who you all thought Diddy made. Let's get to the mix though. This is Diddy. Wait, that's not it. Okay. Here we go. I'm high. Now you know. So you heard it, right? So like, I mean, if there's anybody the king of FBA, well, I don't know if he is FBA actually. Well, anyway, Biggie, right? One of the biggest rap artists, probably one of the biggest rap tracks of all time. And that beat came from this. I got to stop it. You know what's up. And they'll probably already get me, but this is important. You hear that bass? Herb Albert from Spain. That's where the beat came from. One of the biggest, I mean, he didn't make hip hop. This was back in 1979. This track was giant. And if I spread this out a little bit, he is on Soul Train with this jam. Herb Albert, that's right. It's Herb, I think it's Herb Albert. I don't know. But anyway, a freaking jam, no matter which one. I remember playing his track when it came out. And you played his track. And the clubs were black. But you played his track. It was #1 back in the 80s. So I understand that what Fat Joe is saying is ridiculous. But damn, this is a strong argument right here. And that's all I'm saying. Technically he's a jazz musician, but he does jazz, he does, you know, a mix of different cultural music. I think he's still performing today. So, you know, FBA, you can't take too much credit. You can't take all the credit for Biggie. I don't know if Biggie, I think he's American. No, I thought he was like maybe mixed. Let me see something here. Biggie heritage. Wallace. Nope, he's Jamaican. He's what you dudes would rudely call a tether. Yeah. One of your, especially from New York, where FBA is like the thing. Welcome, Mr. DJ Music in the house. Where FBA is the thing, y'all didn't have any problem with Biggie. Now, I understand. I mean, all he did, he basically wasn't talking the same kind of crap that, you know, Fat Joe was. I think we can make a delineation there, but you can't go all in on saying that other cultures did not at least contribute to the success of hip hop today. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. I mean, I'm just sorry. I'm just not built to express a negative attitude towards other people because they're from somewhere else. Now, if there are other people from somewhere else acting like a jerk, like Fat Joe, oh, by all means. But I'm going to be more of a sniper about it and focus my energy on him, if at all, because I don't think he's really relevant right now. He gained relevance by the backlash. I mean, when was his last hit? Like he took over. Don't get me wrong, he's talented, but when was his last hit? So the funny thing is this, he's literally copying who that comedian was that was playing in our face. What was his name? By the way, I used to mix Fat Joe's song right into Hypnotize. It was clean. Oh, perfect. Work with the keys a little bit. You know, get them on key, drop it in. You got party going on. You know. Now, here's a funny thing. Biggie's track lasted way longer. I mean, people wanted to hear it way longer than, you know, Fat Joe's, but you know, Fat Joe's was still spanking floors. Tam States. Andrew Schultz, right. See, and it brings me to another thing. I'm going to read Tam's message. I like Fat Joe's music, but I don't care for him running his mouth. I only pay attention to his music. You got to flow. You got to flow, Joe. You gotta get him, let him know, Joe. Okay. Excuse me. I'm still a little bit under the weather, but yeah, Andrew Schultz. Andrew Schultz, I bet Joe saw Andrew Schultz playing in y'all's face, including FBA. And Joe's like, well, it looks like the coast is clear, right? He's like, it looks like the coast is clear. I'm going in on mine. I already disrespected the women. Let me go after the men now. Are there, bigoted FBAs? Oh, by all means. By all means. But he generalized it in a way which was inappropriate. That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, so Herb Albert, more closer to jazz, you would say jazz, or, Latin music, who you guys were torching. That wasn't me mixing, but no, you guys were torching, the Latin, contribution a little bit too much. Joe was wrong, but at the same time, come on now. There's probably more examples, but at least you know of one. And then on top of it, Biggie's a tether, which you guys talk shit about. So by all means, if you all want, by all means, work that one out. Go to your respective, channels, and you don't have to use my shit. In fact, don't. Unless you're one of my friends. But go have a debate. You have a Latin man and a Jamaican tether, as you would say. I think it's a fucking disgusting name. Myself. Making one of the biggest hits in hip hop history. Was it the first one? Second one? I don't know. I don't know. Oh, and man, listen to this. Adele, Eden Adele. Fun fact, Herb Albert is one of the wealthiest jazz musicians ever and a legit billionaire now at 80 plus. Man, I think a lot of us, FBAs, we might have wanted to, join his music production or something, because he's doing all right. I say you go where the flow goes. You go where the flow goes. I mean, come on. Again, Fat Joe wrong? Hell yeah. That's why I haven't done, I guess he's been out, this has been out for 2 weeks. I was like, whatever. I think in our community, we need to start using that word more, whatever. Because all we did was give these guys, put a battery to their back. And you can't even blame Herb for being into jazz or R&B soul jazz. Whatever. Y'all didn't want that shit. Y'all didn't want it. He ran with it. Now he's a billionaire. You should. That's all I can say. This is Soul Train. Look at that dude. He's getting down on the guitar. He's getting down on that Biggie beat. He's getting down on that Biggie beat when Biggie wasn't even born. God damn, I think I'm gonna get hit by the algorithm, but I just love that jam. I'm gonna play it right after this live stream because that jam is the jam. Then I'm gonna play Biggie's right behind it. Yep, I'm gonna play a Latin man, and then I'm gonna play the tether you guys all call a tether. Because yes, that's what Biggie is. Is it right? No. No. And this was the only point I was trying to make on that live stream. Well, there were more, but that was one of the main ones. Other than the guy butchering the definition of a melody not being able to be copyrighted when it's the main part. See, in fact, let's have a lesson. Let's have a lesson. The bass line, though as funky and smooth and great as it is, it's not the primary instrument. Did it make the jam? Ooh. It made that jam. You know what made the jam? I mean, you know what is the most copyrightable item? It's easy, but I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the guy. But, you know, I noticed some things, but I need to clear this up just in case somebody who sees this from their room. It's the trumpet. If you might get away with playing the bass line. You maybe. It's the trumpet. And the reason is the bass line is really an added element to the melody. And the rhythm guitar, which you can barely hear, but brings the track together, brings energy to the track. That's the harmony. So that's going to be like number 2. Then the bass is number 3. That's how you do it. That's how it goes down. Now, if you don't have a rhythm guitar in your track, then yeah, you see. I'm just trying to, how should I call it? Redefine some misinformation stated on YouTube, because I do not want other people to lose, you know, a hard-earned video because they played somebody's track. Now I might lose this one because I can't get enough of Herb Albert. Phoenix sold in the house. But I'm just telling you. So the part, and it's easy to find a melody because it's usually the part that the person will sing. Usually, not all the time. Secondary instrument plays the harmony. Third, where the bass is just the bass, which could be off of both or one of these guys in basic. But I mean, these are jazz musicians. They can, oh my God. You talk about somebody making things work. That's why people love jazz so much. And that's another point I wanted to make. Jazz is Black music. But it's been so well received all over the world that everybody's enjoying it. To the point, who knows, sooner or later, they're probably going to be arguing about that. But jazz started back in, you know, with dun, 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 dun. I mean, you know, back in the day, I'm talking like in the 40s and shit, you know? So it goes far back. That was his inspiration. And hip hop's inspiration, okay, is definitely R&B. Oh, you think I'm BSing? You guys, you frown on R&B. Some of you might even like some, you know, you may like some neo soul, which is a mix of R&B and really hip hop, in my opinion. But let me go over, where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is that? Keep with me here. Let's play this for a minute. Wait, no. Situation. Okay. What I'm looking for is one of the grandfathers of hip hop. one of the grandfathers of, see, you guys want to keep messing around with Joe. Joe came in the game late. And nobody's telling you that. So I have to tell you that. Joe's in the game late. He's old, but he got to the game in the early 90s. Joe got to the game late. Here's another person who is the hip hop king. Did you hear that? Okay, I'm stopping it there because you know what's, if you heard the first bar, you know what's up. Oh my God, oh, back in the day, in the Bay, oh my God, you could play this track 4 times a night if you wanted to, and ain't nobody gonna complain. Not one freaking bit. But the only problem is the intro, y'all. Back to the FBA argument. The intro is a Latin intro from Cuba. Oh, and it makes the fucking track. Yeah. And then this is one of the most historical hip hop jams ever. And this is the man who was instrumental in making it happen. Listen to his story.
It was like the end of 1979, beginning of 1980. This movement started to develop in New York City that I had become, loosely aware of because of my friendship with Blondie, with Debbie and Chris. And they said, hey, now you got to come up to a hip hop with me, which is what they called it. They said a hip hop. And when you went to a hip hop, you'd go to some space, either it was a playground or a school gymnasium or some bowling alley or some space that wasn't really generating lots of money, and a bunch of kids would take it over with boom boxes, and or sometimes they'd even have a proper mobile DJ, and they would play primarily one song, Good Times.
Yeah. And y'all don't even like that song. But it's completely aligned. Completely, not y'all in the chat. This is for like all those people, outsiders that might peep it later on. Yep. A jazzy, back then they call it disco song. Might be the longest rap tune ever. I believe it was like 11 minutes. Longest rap tune. Oh my God. And people would listen to it all the way freaking through. Oh, man. But you guys, it's funny because y'all if I was to mention Chic, you probably go, oh, you must be gay, you must be gay. No. You don't know. That's the problem. Yep, Angela, yep, Chic was the bomb. DJs could not get enough of that breakdown where the bass solo kicks in. Oh my God. The main thing is this. Did you know that they actually literally stole his bass line? It went to litigation. I know it wasn't easy because it was just a bass line, but still, they didn't do enough to the bass. So, they cut a deal. But yeah, they thought they could take one of the best bass lines in musical history for free. I love the Sugar Hill Gang, but damn, bro. And what happened is that people try to get slick. They would change a note and try to make it, change a note here and there in the melody or the bass line to try to make it slip under the radar. And that's why, you know, the copyright office and everything said, oh no, I mean, if there's a full jury and we all see, you know, we play both tracks, you know it's the same track. We don't care if you change note 3 and 5. I'm sorry. And a perfect example of an even more obscure copyright win would be Blurred Lines. Man, that lawyer was cooking because nobody knew that was Got to Get Enough by Marvin Gaye. I did because it had the vibe, but I'm old. I've heard that song, Got to Give It Up. I mean, like, I don't know, 100 times, 200, maybe 300. Oh, shoot, I didn't see y'all there. Let me put y'all up. Sorry, my bad. My bad. Deontay and Darnell, I am so sorry for keeping you waiting. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm all right.
Sorry, man. I guess I was just talking too much. So I've talked enough. So Deontay, give me your thoughts, and then Darnell, you can give me your thoughts.
Okay, can you hear me?
Sure can.
Okay. Well, just on the Fat Joe thing, I think that there's a misconception with where people are confusing contributions to actual invention. Now, Fat Joe is talking about invention. At first, I thought he was talking about Latinos contributing,
Right.
because every group in the world contributes to everything once it's released to the public. You know, like I'll give you a great example is black people with sports, right? We didn't invent football or basketball, but we changed the games forever and we dominated. But we never walked around and said we invented them, because we know we didn't. But you get Fat Joe's making it seem like when he said that we invented hip hop together. I'm like, well, what room? Where was this at? Where blacks and Latinos were sitting at a table together with white lab coats on, inventing hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? Like, hip hop was before he was even born. You can really trace it. It's really a soulful thing that got fine tuned over time, like all of our other art. This shit is just happened in the 1900s. You know, you can take this back. So that's where the disrespect comes from, in that sense for me. But I'll leave it right there for now because I go crazy talking about that.
No, I mean that you brought up a good point. The point of the matter is when I heard Big Joe say that, and I think people might have took it as me trying to or me defending him, but when I heard it's like, nigga, you crazy, if you know what I mean. It's like, oh, you know, or nigga, please. It's like, no, I'm just not. I'm not in that camp where, you know. Now, have they contributed? Absolutely. But no. So I'm with you on that 100%. Darnell?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, DJ. Always a pleasure. If you kind of give me a little context to the question, I had to run in the store real quick, so I missed about the last, I'd say, 10 minutes of your show.
Got it. Okay. I'm sorry. Deontay, were you going to say something? Okay. So I got to take. Okay. So basically, I was going over really a little bit of history of hip hop music and how my argument not to take the FBA credit away, which I am not, but at the same time, I think we all can agree that FBA has no problem with Biggie. Yeah. Now he didn't walk around saying, "Look, my Jamaican shit's better than y'all." He didn't say shit like that. No, when he was around. But there is a certain, I mean, there's always going to be a certain group of people in every category that's going to go a little bit hard. And the argument I was making is that, well, y'all love you some Biggie, but y'all want to throw him out the country. If he was still alive, you'd want to throw him out the country because he was a tether. And that's my argument, because some of these guys are going crazy. I mean, they're going like, y'all need to leave and all that kind of stuff. Like, okay, yeah, see how that works out.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it's just real bad, especially when, FBAs, and keep in mind, this number includes both FBAs and, to use what you had just said, tethers, people that are, black people that immigrated to this country. We're 13% of the country.
Right.
Combined. 13%. That's every man and woman, child. We're 13%. So we don't need to be doing all this division and infighting and this and that. I never did like it. But for those the listeners that don't know how power is distributed in our country, it's based on population. Okay. For the most part, I think we have the same goals in common. We all want a better life. We all want the best for our children. We want, opportunity. We don't need to be, doing this FBA tether, and it just doesn't help. Because I'm going to be honest with you when it comes to, at the end of the day, we got. Okay,
right.
If you think. And again, I'm not trying to promote racism on your channel, but if you think White Zaddy's going to be your ally, you're wrong. You think, Tran, or, whatever Asian name is going to be your ally, you wrong. If you think Rico is going to be your ally, you wrong. At the end of the day, we got it. If you black, unfortunately in our country, you are the bottom of the totem pole, in society. I hate to say that, but everything's going to be considered your fault. Crime's up. Oh, it's black people's fault. And they don't just blame FBAs. They blame black migrants as well. When crime goes up. So now getting back to hip hop, to be honest with you, I have heard Fat Joe's under a lot of receiving a lot of backlash. I don't exactly. I admit I'm ignorant on exactly what he said, but sometimes too that I've noticed in the black community is sometimes we have a hard time hearing the truth. A lot of times we have a hard time. Somebody's actually trying to help us, and but we're offended on how they say it, and maybe it's one of those things. Maybe Fat Joe was just making a point on something. Again, I'm ignorant, so I don't know, but it's possible Fat Joe may have been making a point on something. And people decided to criticize him. You can't be talking about us and this and that, and how dare you and this and that. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. When it comes to if something has a tendency to be true, I guess you could say it's an old saying in Texas. First time a man calls you a horse, you punch him in the face. Second time he calls you a horse, you call him a jerk. Third time he calls you a horse, then maybe it's time to go shopping for a new saddle because you might be a horse. Okay.
All right. Deontay, thoughts? What do you think?
Now, honestly, this is something I've been thinking about this for a while. When the ADOS first came out, American Descendants of Slaves, and that was in 2016 or a little before then. This really came up with the FDA and everything. It really started with the reparations when the government and the elected officials first start talking about it publicly. The biggest problem they said was one of the problems was, well, how do we know which black people to pay if we did do reparations? And that's when the FBA people, now they've been out before that, obviously, but that's when it got really strong like it is now, because they said we the ones that come from slavery. But you're right though, what you were saying, Darnell. Like at the end of the day, when the cop pulls over a black person, they don't care if you American, FBA, if you from Nigeria, Congo, if you got an English accent like Idris Elba, you just another nigga to them. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's it.
we this is something that we have to deal with because every group of people in this country, in this world, DJ, I talk about the same thing all the time. Every time I come on, I end up going back to this. Every group loves being who they are and where they're from. And the Latino community over the last decade has gotten really, really strong publicly with how their group dynamics work. What I mean is this: the reason why Fat Joe feels like he can come out publicly and call the FBA people radical black racists. I mean, he went in generally on basically anybody that was black FBA, right? Why would he feel so comfortable doing that all of a sudden? It's because he knows he got a group to stand with him by the millions. He got countries, but he got Puerto Rico. He got countries behind him. We still don't have that.
Right.
We are at the bottom of the totem pole now. I would say the last 20 years for sure, since 2000, black people have been at the bottom of the American totem pole because we want to be. And mostly it's subconscious. It's not like if you ask every black person, do you like being on the bottom of the totem pole? Of course they say no, right? But it's like if you go up to somebody who's 400 pounds and say, do you like being 400 pounds? Of course they'll say no, but then they're going to go eat Snickers and stuff once you leave them alone. So it's like, it's the same thing when it comes to us. We have the power to lift ourselves out of this for real. And I am glad. So one of the things about the NBA that I do like is that at least they're trying to start some kind of group power, but it has to be real though. It can't just be when it's convenient. It can't just be we're not gonna do nothing but just say we FBA if somebody attacks you, but we're not gonna build anything. You gotta build something. We don't own anything, we don't control nothing. Like we shouldn't have to have this argument about if we started hip hop music or not. We should be the ones running this. We run this whole culture.
Thank you.
This is the only society in the history of the world where the small minority oppressed group um, influences the entire population. We got rich white people up here using our slang in Fox News and on MSNBC every day. Like stuff that kids create on the corner just talking to themselves. 2 weeks later, you got the president of the United States saying this stuff at a podium. So we have the power. We just gotta come together with it. This FBA thing, man. I like it to a certain extent, but I do stand with them 100% against what Fat Joe was speaking about.
Well said.
So what exactly did Fat Joe say?
He said that
I don't know. Go ahead.
And this isn't the first time he said this either. He said this a few years ago was the official 50th anniversary, I believe, of rap and hip hop in America,
Mhm.
and he said that Latinos helped invent and contributed to hip hop out of New York. But now he's going full blown. We helped invent it, like we was there together. And you know what the next step after that is
Mhm.
shit, y'all we really wasn't even really there. It was really just us, you know. So it's like a total disrespect because, like DJ said, all this music is ours. Most of, I mean, the only thing that isn't ours is probably Gregorian chants. Okay,
Mhm.
but everything else is ours. I mean, gospel, jazz, country. I mean, we invented the banjo. Okay, come on now. Gospel, jazz, country, rock, soul, R&B, but not hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. Like this is nuts. You
Right.
know?
Well,
Well,
here's
I was
my
just
feeling. Wait, I'll talk for one second, just 1 second.
good.
The problem is is that we've. I mean, let me ask you this, Deontay. How much of hip hop do you believe we own right now? Like we really benefit from it. We own it. We're getting money from it.
You mean as a group or just the artists and producers?
As a group, as the like
As
the
black
industry.
people as a
Yeah.
group. Okay, I would say 1%, and that 1% would include all of the hip hop artists and anybody who's in that industry. But it's nothing that's circulating um through our people because we don't own any of the outlets. We don't own any of the record companies. We don't own any of the distribution. We don't own the radio companies that are playing this music. We don't even own the platform they stream it on. We don't own the computers, phones that they download them on. I mean, 1%, less than 1%. And that's including Jay Z and Puffy and Dre and them, you know. So we don't get paid from our own music, man.
I thought it was more than that now, because with the advent of technology, I thought more and more black artists, started taking up ownership. You brought up Jay Z. Jay Z, um, I can't remember. He bought, was it Spotify? He
Title,
bought Tide.
title.
That's right. It was Tidal. Yeah, you're right. Tidal. I remember now. Yeah, he bought Tidal. And a lot of rappers started following suit. So I'd always thought with technology, I thought the ownership percentage of ownership, I thought it went up because now everything now is almost decentralized. Now it's not like it used to be to where you had to put your music through RCA Records or Sony or whoever.
Yeah, well, I don't say, but I would say about probably like half of the black artists own their own masters at this point. If it's even worth them owning. A lot of them
Yeah,
are selling on purpose though, so they just make more money that way. For example, Drake, as he's suing Universal Music Group, they own, I think it was 38% of all the music in the world.
yeah,
Damn.
I don't 38% of all the music in the world they own. And Drake sold his catalog to them and then signed a $400 million deal. And he actually did it. He's actually going to one more album and he'll be able to pay them off and sign another deal for probably $1 billion.
yeah,
So that's going to be crazy. But it's that now you're right about us with technology. We can go independent now and own everything. But
yeah,
it's just what radio not radio what record companies do now because we're not pressing discs anymore is they pay for all of the marketing and the
yeah,
tours. If you can afford to pay for your own marketing and tours, and because of social media, if you already are big, like for example, if Drake decided to go independent, he would probably make 5 to 10 times more money than signing a deal. The difference is when he signs a deal for $400 million, they write him an upfront check for $400 million.
Right.
And if he
yep,
decided to go independent, he would probably make 800 million to 1.2 billion So he would make it over the course of 5 or 6 years. And he's saying, for what? What, do you take the money up front? Plus, Drake is FBA. Drake is a tether too. Don't forget, he a Canadian Jewish person whose father just happens to be black, so he don't care about American black culture, which is why Kendrick shut him down so hard.
All right, let me cover a couple comments. Darnell, Susie Bear says, I'm going to correct him right there. Back in white men, back in white men and black women have always been in my corner. Well, before black men ever have. That's Susie Bear. So she disagrees with, that there are no Caucasian people that will, stand up for, for her, at least in her experience. But I've had people stand up for me too. And then Timothy states this: we are a farming and herding people who live off the earth. Capitalism, stocks, bonds, dividends will never appeal to the majority of our people. I mean, he's got a strong argument. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I mean, it's just not, it's not sexy. I hate to say that term, but it's one of those things. It's like infrastructure spending in the United States. You'll always hear the reason why they can't get it passed is because it's not sexy. And when it comes to stocks, bonds, and investment vehicles for making money, it's just not sexy. You're not making money fast enough. Even though it's proven over the course of time, you invest in the S&P 500, on average, you're going to get returns of 12% year over year on average. Now that doesn't sound sexy, right? Because okay, let's make it easy. So $100, you start out with $100. That's going to be, you're going to, at the end of the year, you're going to have 112. Okay, you have $1,000, that's 120. $10,000, that's 1,020, and so on and so on. That doesn't sound like a whole lot of money, right? Versus, let's say I go sell rocks on the street. I'm making quick money, fast money. Or let's say I'm gonna go into the NBA. I'm making fast money. I'm signing that. I work hard enough. I'm signing that multi-million-dollar deal, and I'm getting the quick money. I'm getting the fast cars. I'm getting the girls, and I'm getting all that. It's with our culture, we have to have instant gratification for some odd reason versus delaying gratification. If we just wait, kind of like the squirrel in wintertime, before winter hits, he's running around hoarding all the nuts. So in the autumn, hey man, winter's coming. I got to get all these nuts and put them up in the tree, right? Because I know the winter's going to be harsh. But when winter does come and he's sitting there and he's enjoying the fruits of his labor, and unfortunately with blacks, we just don't have that mentality for some odd reason.
Patience.
Yeah. And then another thing too, patience too. But another thing too is a lack of faith in the system.
Right.
Which in some cases I can understand why, because the system has been designed to screw us over in the past. I mean, healthcare, for example, everyone knows Tuskegee experiments. Healthcare we didn't get quality healthcare. We were used as guinea pigs. When it came to housing, we all know about redlining. Keep blacks out of the neighborhood. Keep blacks on the other side of the railroad tracks, as they used to call it. So we all know that the system wasn't designed with us in mind. But it comes a point where you have to use the system to the benefit, and black people just, instead of doing that, trying to, outsmart the system. They just I don't know. You know, we just for whatever reason, we have a tendency to want to do what is bad.
Well said. All right. Well, I think this was a great show. Hey, thank you, fellas. I mean, your input and commentary was amazing. Like to give everybody a very, 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 very happy holiday season, whatever you may, celebrate. Hope you're not, getting COVID. But yeah, this was great. I'm gonna probably call it a night. I think I need to lie down. I'm a little under the weather. But let me start the beat and then get some shout outs out of the way. I think I'll kick the beat harder this time. Let me go with, yeah.
The money world.
All right, shout out to on stage, Deontay and Darnell. In the chat, we have Jackie Game, Phoenix Soul, Timothy Taylor, Susie there,
Fanny, pasa verdadero. Si tienen lo verde siempre llegará primero, pero llegaremos antes o después. Solo a lo suyo que Dios te la ve, que por más que tarde lo veré caer. Somos más lo bueno y tenemos fe. El dinero ya lo veré. No vendo mi alma, lo lograré. Seré el más grande, no olvidaré de dónde vengo ni cómo fue. El mundo quiere dinero.
Damn.
Money work.
Nigga love.
Se arregla con dinero. Con dinero. Money work. Yo digo
Mr. DJ Music.
No quiero ninguna aceptación. Tampoco vengo a pedir perdón porque mis sentimientos se volvieron la canción. Yeah. No me vale mucho como tú me ves. Sabes, tú me llegas solo a los pies. Para mí ser grande es un interés. Ser un buen humano para mí es un deber. El dinero ya lo veré. No vendo mi alma, lo lograré. Seré el más grande, no olvidaré de dónde vengo ni cómo.
Hey, mama.
Money work. El mundo quiere dinero.
All right, I'd like to thank everybody for coming through.
Money work. Se arregla con dinero. Money work.